children of Israel, a people of warriors and kings. From the very beginning, from out of Egypt, they were a nation of warriors, a great army, who slayed the Nephilim in the land of Canaan, conquering both man, beast, and the seed of the fallen angels. The children of Jerusalem won many great battles. However, they also suffered great defeats. In fact, Jerusalem was conquered by Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, and Jerusalem was also conquered by the Romans. With the defeat of the house of Judah, the descendants of King David were scattered. However, there was one place where the descendants of the royal house of King David, where the sons of King David himself were gathered together. Let's take a look at the sons of the royal house of King David. King David, one of the great kings of Israel. King David was a man after Yah's own heart, and he was a great warrior. Acts chapter 13, verse 22 reads, "And when he had removed him, he raised up unto him David to be their king, to whom also he gave testimony and said, I have found David the son of Jesse, a man after mine own heart, which shall fulfill all my will. Of this man's seed hath Yah, according to his promise, raised unto Israel a Savior, Yahusha, Hamashiach." First sentence.
Just so you know, that type of Savior they talking about. Just a man who had spiritual abilities that could fight, and his army that the Creator was giving us, who were men just like we are today, except we probably had stronger DNA, I don't know. And we had spiritual abilities, do amazing things, X-Men, all these super people, men, cartoons, hero cartoons is really about us, y'all. They throw it in your face, and they see if you catch it. If you don't, they know you get more stuff, and that's what they've been doing. So,
Samuel chapter 18, verse 7.
oh yeah, and we're not to serve him. He never said to serve him. He told us to serve the Creator only. And of course, they put the Savior stuff in it. And the whole belief in the Messiah is also pagan. We don't believe in Messiah. We believe there are many prophets. Some prophets better than others. All said the same things. Some said a little more. They all had our knowledge. They always given the knowledge from the Creator. The Creator was the one who picked them. Period. That's how they got the knowledge. So it was pretty much that simple, because that's the kid was going to bless with the spiritual abilities, the one he was given the knowledge. That's why he was also the smartest king of Israel. Okay? Remember, Samson had spiritual abilities too. So that's just proving my point right there. Now, of course, all the names are wrong. All names are wrong.
Reads, "And the women answered one another as they played and said, Saul has slain his thousands, and David his 10,000. The Most High Yah also made a promise to King David's son, King Solomon, that if he walked in his ways as King David did, that he too would be blessed. 1 Kings chapter 3, verse 12 reads, Behold, I have done according to your words. Lo, I have given you a wise and an understanding heart, that there was none like you before you, neither after you shall any arise like unto you. And I have also given you that which you have not asked, both riches and honor, so that there shall not be any among the kings like unto you all your days. And if you will walk in my ways to keep my statutes and my commandments, as your father David did walk, then I will lengthen your days. You see, one of the reasons King David was special was because he was obedient to the Most High Yah. So much so that the Most High Yah used King David as an example for other kings to follow. 1 Kings chapter 14, verse 7 reads, Go tell Jeroboam, Thus saith Yah, Elohim of Israel, Forasmuch as I exalted you from among the people, and made you prince over my people Israel, and wrenched the kingdom away from the house of David, and gave it to you. And yet you have not been as my servant David, who kept my commandments, who followed me with all his heart to do that which was right in my eyes. It was under King David and his son King Solomon that Israel was blessed and prosperous. Some would even call it the golden age of Israel. King David. When his sons followed the commandments of the Most High Yah, Israel was blessed. However, when David's sons did not obey the Most High Yah, Israel was cursed. During the time of the Messiah, Yahshua HaMashiach of the house of David, he walked the streets of Jerusalem and he gave a prophecy. He foretold of the eventual fall of Jerusalem along with the eventual scattering of its people. This would include the house of David. Luke chapter 21 verse 20 reads, And when you shall see Jerusalem compassed with armies, then know that the desolation thereof is nigh. Then let them which are in Judea flee to the mountains, and let them which are in the midst of it depart out. And let them which are in the countries enter thereinto. For these be the days of vengeance, that all things which are written may be fulfilled. But woe unto them that are with child, and to them that give suck in those days. For there shall be great distress in the land, and wrath upon this people. And they shall fall by the edge of the sword, and shall be led away captive into all nations. And Jerusalem shall be trodden down of the Gentiles, until the times of the Gentiles be fulfilled. So indeed Jerusalem would fall, its people would be scattered, and the house of Judah would be set on fire.
Just so you know, everything of Judah was not set on fire. They didn't set the books on fire. They stole the books, and they didn't burn all the buildings. They burnt a lot of them, though.
beginning of the time of the Gentiles. The Roman army had broken through the city walls of Jerusalem, brought down its strong towers, and destroyed the earthly temple dedicated to the Most High Yah himself. It was the beginning of the end. Foretold by the prophets of old, a time dreaded by the people, it had to seem like the end of the world. Homes were destroyed, people were murdered, and the blood of Judah flowed down the city streets. Hamashiach saw Jerusalem's destruction in a vision and wept. Luke chapter 19, verse 41 reads, "And when he was come near, he beheld the city, and wept over it, saying, If you hadst known, even you, at least in this your day, the things which belong unto your peace, but now they are hid from your eyes. For the days shall come upon thee, when thine enemy shall cast a trench about thee, and compass you round about, and cast thee in on every side, and shall lay thee even with the ground, and thy children within thee, and they shall not leave in thee one stone upon another, because thou knewest not the time of your visitation." After the fall of Jerusalem by both the Romans and the Babylonians, they both sent the sons of the house of David to Spain. As the following references reads, and it reads, "The Spanish Jews maintained that they had been transported hither after the destruction of the temple by the Babylonian conqueror Nebuchadnezzar. Certain Jewish families, the Ibn Dawids, or the sons of Dawid, and the Abarbanels boasted the descent from the royal house of Dawid, and maintained that their ancestors had been settled since time immemorial, partly in the district of Lucena, and partly in the environs of Toledo and Seville. The numerous Spanish Jewish family of Nasi also traced back its pedigree to King Dawid, and proved it by means of a genealogical table and seals. The family of the Ibn al-Balias was more modest and dated its immigration only from the destruction of the Second Temple. A family tradition runs to the effect that the Roman governor of Spain begged the conqueror of Jerusalem to send him some noble families from the capital of Judea, and that Titus complied with his request. Among those thus transported was a man named Baruch, who excelled in the art of weaving curtains for the temple. This Baruch, who settled in Merodach, was the ancestor of Ibn al-Balias. And the next reference reads, Abarbanel, in his commentary on Zechariah 12, verse 7, reads, "And Yah also shall save the tents of Judah," affirms that at the desolation of the first temple, two families of the house of Dawid came and settled in Spain, one at Lucena and the other the Abarbanels at Seville. And from these came 1,000 offshoots.